So Xcode 10 and 9 and 8 and various things before that had a thing called the assistant in Xcode, where if you hit, like, there was a little button over here that looked sort of like a guy with a tuxedo. And if you hit that, then like something would come up to the side. And the usual shortcut for that was Command, Option, Enter. And if I do that right now, nothing happens except that like this little editor thing blinks up here. And so your first experience with Xcode was, hey, how come they took away my cool thing? So the answer is, you can't see this very well. And in fact, in general, I should make this larger so you can all see. But that doesn't really matter because this little button right here shows, not that, go away. Here is where the assistant has gone, and they changed it so that now you have to put control with it now. So if I push Control, Option, Command, Enter, then I get my assistant back, and it brings up, like, it thinks, oh, there's probably some other related file related to what you were doing. And sometimes that has, I can say, hey, I want you to find user interfaces. It's like, I didn't actually find the storyboard you were looking for. But anyway, I'm not trying to give a whole overview of Xcode here. But what I'm trying to get to is, what did they replace that with? Why did who moved my cheese, and what did they put there instead? Okay, so this app that I've got up here is, so I work at Day One. It's a journaling app. And I recently came across some stuff that I wanted to show you. And so I made a very, 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 very simple version of Day One to show you. I've got a nice big plus button here, right? And I hit plus and it makes a new journal entry. Day One's a journaling app. So I can come here and I can type, right? And I can come back and, yeah, there it is. Okay, so that's about how this works. And yeah, that's like pretty much all of the app. Okay, so ignoring all I said about Xcode earlier, we'll get to the motivation for that. About a week ago, I was working on Day One, which is somewhat similar to this, and we have this little settings thing. When settings comes up, we have a whole bunch of things. And then, like, you come down in here, and then there was other stuff, right? And in my actual use case, this thing was about 5 levels deep, right? And my goal was, I wanted to come in here, and I wanted to put a little label on this thing. It was like a little multi-line wrapping label that sort of explains, what happens if you turn on and off sync over cellular or whatever, like whatever that was. And you can do that. If I come over here, here's my advanced settings table view controller. I could do this. Let's see, let's clear out some space here. And I could bring up that assistant that we were talking about before. And sometimes, but not right now, sometimes it'll find the related interface. Or if I do it this way, it'll probably do it. If I bring up the storyboard,
there's a little space,
and then bring up the assistant, then it says, oh look, I found this related file, and that's cool, right? So I'm like, okay, I've got this thing here. I want to zoom it in. And I want to add some stuff here. I've got a table view. And I want like a section footer. Oh yeah, but you can't actually configure section footers here in here. So how do I do this? I say, I implement this view for footer and section method.
Okay, it looks
Great,
like
cool, that's fun. Let's run the app and see what happens.
So can't do both.
So I come here.
Well,
I come to
while
advanced.
it's recording, it can't
And I
change
see
to the
no
USB
footer.
to do.
And I'm like, this is
Maybe the food will come.
all right, what's
pull
going
out
on?
the
Oh, well,
pause.
maybe I have to do like height for footer in section, and I'll return like, I don't know, 50. And I'll do it again. I'll build. And I'll wait.
Is this what the UI
I'll wait for it to come up, and I'll go into settings and go into advanced. Okay, there's something there, so that seems like it was relevant, except I wanted this string to wrap,
Well,
and it's not wrapping. Okay, so now I gotta come here again and like figure out, like this is not really, and like I could say, oh, maybe I wanted it to be
So
100.
this is the
There's
control.
this cycle every time I make a change, right? I have to run
This
the
is
app again, I have to
controlling
click
that.
settings again, I have to come here to advanced again.
Yeah, that's
Now look,
true.
even with this, it's still not wrapping. This is not doing what I want to do. And like this debug cycle of figure out what I want to do, make a change, compile it, go into the app, hit settings, hit advanced, dig down however many levels I need to do, just to see if my code change worked. All of that extra work, like jumping down into where I was trying to go, is really quite annoying, right? And so in XCode 11, they introduced XCode Previews, which are really awesome at addressing this problem. Now the problem is that XCode Previews are kind of a thing related to SwiftUI. And some of you may have seen SwiftUI stuff before, maybe you've played with it. If I do this, I can remember how to even make SwiftUI. What? Is there a file just for it? Oh, SwiftUI view. Hey, look, there it is. Cool. You can tell I don't do this a lot. Right? Okay, so we're going to take a quick detour and look at SwiftUI. Okay, so again, I've got my main view over here, and I've got, let's see, if I do this. Okay, I've got like the assistant thing showing me like nothing particularly useful over here. Yeah, so we're going to get rid of the assistant view because that's not very useful. Instead, we want what they call the canvas. Canvas. Cool. And this brings up what is known as XCode Previews. And if I click that resume button, what happens here is, in this nice little SwiftUI view that I've got here, I can see it like has a preview of this view, right? And the nice thing about this is I can type, and it updates live. And this is like a preview of exactly what would happen if I were just on that view. Okay, this is great, but again, I'm not working with SwiftUI. I'm working with a view controller that's like, I'm trying to put a section footer in. And this is not what I'm wanting to do. But this SwiftUI thing, this preview thing here seems kind of nice, that I can see exactly what my code is going to do. So what we're going to do is we're going to combine these things, okay? So I'm going to come back over to the advanced settings table view controller. You can see right now, if I show the canvas, it doesn't have anything. Like, that little preview thing over to the side didn't show up. But I want it to show up. All right, so how do we do that? Question, is my text big enough that you can comfortably read it? Yes? Good? Okay, cool.
Make it bigger.
I'll make it bigger. It's even bigger now. All right, so how this works, if we want to make a preview to show up in Xcode, we need to import SwiftUI, and then we're going to make a struct that's going to be our preview, and we're going to call it my preview for now. And it conforms to preview provider. All right, that's a start. And it says, hey, my preview does not actually conform to the protocol. Oh, okay, well, let's see what it wants. It wants to know what type our previews are. I don't know. Let's pretend it's a text or something. And then if I build again, it's going to tell me, no, you still don't conform. This is how I actually write the code, right? You don't try to remember it. You just wait for the compiler to tell you. And then I fix it again. It says, oh, okay, you need this thing that's like previews. And I'm like, oh yeah, I remember seeing that before. And yeah, this actually isn't going to be text. It's going to just be some view, which is like a Swift's way of saying, we're going to return a view in here. Oh, CocoaHeads. And compiler, you can figure out exactly what kind of view it is. But I'm not gonna bother. All right, so with that, we now have a preview. Now, the interesting thing is this is nothing at all related to our table view controller. But hey, look, I'm in this file and I've got a preview, so that's something, right? And again, 5 updates. Okay, well that's kind of a start, but this is still not exactly what I want. I don't really want text in here. That's not what I'm going for. What I want is my actual view controller in here. It'd be nice if I could be like, Advanced settings table view controller. You be here. Well, that's not going to work. It's going to yell at me. Yeah, it's like that. That's not a view. This advanced settings table view controller does not conform to view. Okay. So SwiftUI has a way of integrating your existing view controllers and views so that we can present them in here. So we can't directly do this, but we can get pretty close. What we want to do is make basically a SwiftUI wrapper around our view controller. And SwiftUI has a nice convenient way of doing that. I'm going to call it my controller wrapper. And it conforms to UI view controller representable. Let's move this over a little bit. All right. And again, I don't know what that means, so we're going to let the compiler write the code for us. We'll get rid of that so we can all right. Yeah, I want to add those. Okay, it wants to know what type our view controller is going to be. Well, it's going to be an advanced settings table view controller. Now are you happy? Nope. Wants more. Okay, so there's two key functions here. One of them is here. Make UI view controller. And in this thing, our job is to make a view controller. So we're going to do it. We're going to say, I'm just going to get my storyboard. UI storyboard, it's got a name, which is settings. Bundle is nil. And then I'm going to say, controller is my storyboard, instantiate view controller with an identifier. And I have to go back to my settings view controller to figure out what was my identifier. My identifier was, oh, I didn't give it one. Okay, I'm going to give it one right over here. So I come to the storyboard, I select this view controller, and I come over to this little thing. It's like the, what they call it, the identity inspector. And I'm going to call this advanced settings. All right, cool. Now that has an identifier, I can come back here and type that in. Advanced settings. And then I can just say, return, or I can't type, controller as settings table view controller. Cool. So I have implemented, here I'm going to turn this off for a sec. I've implemented make UI view controller to return a controller. That was pretty easy. And then the second thing is update UI view controller. Now here's where the secret is. I don't actually know why I need this. At least in the case of previews, I don't think I do. You probably need it if you're actually using this kind of SwiftUI integration in an actual app. I've never actually gotten that far, but that's okay because I'm not talking about how to do that. I'm just talking about previews. So my implementation is do nothing. All right. Now, all of that is happening. Now I'm just going to make one of my controller wrappers here. And there it is. And as I update my text in here, like, you can see that's live updating, right? No more of this like back and forth navigating. This is actually my real, like exactly what it would look like. I can even click this little run button down here. If I click that, I click it, there we go. This is like, well, it's starting up. Is it gonna work? Yeah. It's like live. I can click on it. I can interact with this thing. If these did things like show modal things or present alerts, like they'll all do this right here. This is basically like a little mini simulator that is running exactly the thing that I wanted to work with. So now I don't have to run my app, go into settings, like dig down every time I want to make a change. I can just do it directly. And I cannot tell you how much time this saved me in figuring out how to get a wrapping label in a section footer. Because now I can just play with it, right? Now we can do whatever we want. So one thing that I might want to do here is I say, oh, I want to actually go look at maybe stuff in the storyboard. Okay, so I'm going to go back over to my storyboard. Oh, well that's annoying. Now I can't see my preview anymore. That's not what I wanted. All right, hold on. Let's go back. Now, occasionally you'll note when you first come to a file or after you've made some large changes, you'll see this automatic preview updating paused. You can click resume here to start it. There is also, if you go into the editor menu and go to previews, you can hit refresh. So that's a longer way of doing it, except that it tells you that the keyboard shortcut is Command-Option-P. So really what I can do is hit Command-Option-P and boom, that'll load up again. And then you don't have to move your mouse all around all the time. So what I want to do is I want to keep this preview here even while I go to another file. So I'm going to hit this little pin right here. You go, boop. Now that's pinned. And assuming I've done this right, now when I navigate to my settings storyboard, it's still there, right? Even though I'm not on that file, it remembers that I wanted to be there. And in my storyboard here, I can be like, well, okay, I mean, let's see, I want to be on the table view. What happens if, I mean, here's this footer height. I don't actually care about that. What if I make that automatic, or if I make this automatic? Yeah, I mean, those didn't seem, let's see, those don't, so I made some changes here, but this says it's not live updating, right? Because I'm not in the file itself. It won't always live update. But whenever I see that, I can just click it again. I made storyboard changes, so it needs to recompile stuff. And I can say, okay, that didn't seem to make any difference. All right, well, what if I come over here and then like, well, maybe I could do it in a grouped table view. And save that. Hey, look at that. I've got a nice little wrapping thing. It's still not quite, like it's kind of hanging down lower than I would expect though, so let's see if we can fix that up a little bit. Oh, and that's probably because I'm still returning, you know, size 100 here. What if I just get rid of that? Hey, that went exactly where I want. You see how much faster this was than if I'd had to, you know, every change, go back, run it again, dig in. It's so nice. It's wonderful. All right, so that's pretty cool. Let me stop here and just, like, is there any questions that people have about what I've done so far? Yeah?
I guess you've done this more than once, but you look at code snippet that you just type it to fill in if you want to do it real quick.
Yeah, so this kind of stuff down here, like making a controller wrapper, it would be a very good idea to do that. I have not done it yet. But yeah, so I could take this. Honestly, I don't remember how to make code snippets in this latest version. I think I can, so I like right click on that. Oh look, I can say create code snippet. And I could maybe even include this here, right? Say I just want to do all this. I'm going to create a code snippet. I'm going to call it View Controller Preview. See that right there. And I'm going to give it a little completion shortcut. I'm going to call it Preview. Cool. So now, let's pretend I didn't have all this. And I just type Preview. And it types it all out for me. That's pretty cool. Of course, you know, like the specifics of which type you're generating and like exactly which storyboard it's coming from, and like you're going to have to change that up. But you can at least get the basic framework of it. You can leave yourself comments of where you want that to happen. So that's really cool. What else was I going to mention? Oh. Okay, any other questions before I jump into something? Yeah?
Yeah, would you be able to post like as an extension on your view controller and then like as executed property or something? I guess because it...
So you need to make a separate type. This controller wrapper that the preview provider is using has to be something that conforms to UI view controller representable, right? We could maybe make something as an extension on UI view controller that would return this. I haven't thought about that. That would be an interesting challenge. That'd be an interesting thing to play with. Sounds fun. Because yeah, like it would be really convenient to be able to just drop that in there, right? All right. So another cool thing about this is I've got this preview here, but you can actually do multiple previews at the same time. So I'm going to grab this, And I'm going to use some of the cool Swift UI stuff where if I command click on this, it brings up a bunch of things I can do with it. One of which is put in a group. Okay, I could have just typed that myself. Just, wrapped it in a group. Nothing seems to have changed so far, except now, if I want to, I can make 2 of them. All right, well that's not really all that exciting yet. But then I can tweak them. I can say, this one has an environment of, oh shoot, what's it called? I want to do dark mode, but I don't remember what.
Color scheme.
Color scheme. The value is dark. Okay, now I can see at the same time live what happens to both of these things in light and dark mode, which, I don't really have a lot going on, so that's mostly okay. And this top thing up there is maybe interesting, and I can look into that. But you can see that as I type, both of these are live updating. Wait, they really, yeah, anyway, which that's great too. I can also do, maybe I don't care about that. Is there device orientation? There's a way of getting it in landscape. I just barely figured this out like a week ago, so I'm still totally learning things here. Layout direction? No, that's going to be right to left. That would be interesting. Right to left. Yeah, didn't do it. Does anyone remember what it is? Size. Anyway, so I could figure out how to do it in Swift UI. I believe it's an environment thing, or yeah, you can do it. You can say, I want to see what this looks like on an iPhone 6s, and it shows me. And if I can remember how to do it, you could make one that goes in landscape as well, which would actually be an interesting thing to do because this little green switch here doesn't actually position itself correctly in landscape. What?
I have a way to do it. I don't know if this is like the way to do it.
Okay.
But if you .preview layout.
Oh, that sounds right. Preview layout. Yeah.
And you can do .fixed, and you have to provide like
Okay.
removable device for it.
And probably just device is probably just going to be like the normal layout, right?
Yeah. If you do like .fixed, like you could put it in the width or the height.
Yeah. So okay, we'll say that it's like 800 wide by 400. And now we get this, and we can see, yeah, that's definitely not laying out correctly. It's going way off to the side, or it's kind of floating here in the middle. And again, I could go back to my settings storyboard, and I could look at this and say, oh yeah, like I just didn't put any constraints on that at all. And I actually want to say that's got a trailing space, and maybe it's like centered vertically in its container or something. And I save and rebuild it. And there it goes. Yay! Like this is so much faster and so much cooler. And all you really have to do is to let the compiler write it for you is you got to import Swift UI. Okay, that's number one. You got to make a preview provider, which is going to look something like this. It's a struct with a preview provider. If you remember how to do this previous thing, that's nice. If not, you can let the compiler remind you how to do it. And then you make this little controller wrapper. You can call it whatever you want. You implement a make UID controller to do it, and then you're done. And now you have live updating UID controllers. This works not only with Swift. You can have this. You could have your implementation of your view controller be in Objective-C. It still works. Obviously, this part of it where you're doing the preview does need to be in Swift, so that's going to be in a different file. But you could use the pinning thing like we've done here, so that you could still see it as you're making changes. Objective-C files will not give you the live updating that you get here, where as I'm typing the string, we're seeing it change in the live preview. It does have to rebuild every time. For Objective-C, but for Swift files, it will do live update, and that's awesome. So that's basically what I had to show you, is that like XCode previews are really awesome, and you can use them in your existing projects to make it way, way easier. Also, none of this stuff will get compiled in. at least the preview provider down here, is automatically stripped out in debug or in release builds. It's only included for debug builds. If this controller wrapper, if you don't need it either, you could just do if debug or whatever, and then it's not included in your final product either. Yeah, Dave.
So I have an app that I work on that deploys back to iOS 11, and I've tried using Swift, and I am using SwiftUI on it, but everything has to be guarded by the @available iOS 13 mumbo jumbo, and previews just straight up do not work. Like if I mark my preview provider as available in iOS 13, like the preview comes up, and when I try to resume it, it always gives me an error saying it's not available. Is there a way to make previews work if your deployment target is not iOS 13?
That's a great question. I was going to say let's try it out, except that while I was writing this like mini day one, I was like, oh, I'm going to try out all the cool new iOS 13 features. So if I do that, actually, it's going to utterly fall apart, which is not good. So yeah, I can't do that. My answer would be yes, I believe there is, but I would have to look at it, and I would be happy to do that. But I don't know off the top of my head.
Okay.
So. Okay. Any other questions? Other than that, just try it out yourselves. It's not very hard. I'll post this little code snippet in Slack channel so that you have something to base on. Thanks.